Fear makes you sick. It makes you weak. It weakens your immune system. And ironically, it makes you more susceptible to the very thing you're probably afraid of. Here's a good quote. You are afraid to die and you're afraid to live. What a way to exist. By Neely Donald Walsh from the book Home with God and a Life That Never Ends. I haven't read the book, but I like the quote. So here's the thing. There's 50 to 100 new corona blanks every year floating around the human ether. I'm sure you know what blank is. We don't know about most of them. We can't identify them. We probably couldn't figure them out or see them on our telescope and even know what they are half the time. The media definitely won't hear about them or know about them. Most of those in virus protection or vaccine development or any of those type of things probably won't know about them either. 50 to 100 a year. It's probably more than that. You know how many species there are in nature that we don't even know? It's insane. We discover new species all the time. And some rise up, some die off, whatever. So the question becomes, are you going to live your entire life every year in fear? You know, every year there's a new boogie virus that comes out. Are you going to keep your kids inside and let them be kids and run around and get dirty and hurt themselves and have friends, which is basically responsible for like most of their development into adulthood? Are you going to keep the elderly locked up, not let them do their community events and spend time with people that they care about, and thus pretty much sentence them to death because those things are integral for health and longevity and happiness? Even yourself. No matter whether you think yourself a lone wolf or you like your solitude or you're antisocial or you're an introvert, you need people. This is biology. We all need people. Every time you walk down the street, is there going to be somebody who could potentially kill you because they might be carrying a virus? I wonder what that's going to do to your long-term mental health. So the call to action is to remove the fear. Seek understanding. Don't pay attention to the news. Don't buy into what other people are saying because the masses do. And stop being afraid. Living afraid today, you're already dying or you're already dead. Might as well just give up. Throughout human history, you can see this. We are very egotistical creatures. We repeat the same mistakes. We do the same things. Why? Because human nature doesn't change. The times change, technology change, public sentiment changes, but humans stay the same. Why do you think you hear that quote so often? Those that don't know history are destined to repeat it. Because humans do the same things over and over and over again. And every generation of human species is going to do a lot of the same stupid things. Maybe it'll be a little bit different flavor. Maybe it'll involve technology. Maybe it won't. I mean, just look at what's going on with Twitter and our presidential race in the modern world and printing of fake dollars. And like, there is so much nonsense that goes on. And it's understandable. Like, we're not going to build utopia overnight. We're not going to be perfect. But we can definitely get better each generation. And in some ways, we have gotten better in each generation. There's a lot of risk still in our future. It's a very uncertain future. And the way media and technology has infiltrated our lives and the way the few elite that control all of the internet, that control all of the media, that control thus the narrative, that control thus what people think. I think they've gotten to a point where they have such a strong grasp over public sentiment that at this point, they're just trying to see how far they can take it. 1 second virus, 1 second go outside and protest, the next second virus again because the second wave. It's like, what's the next thing going to be? Bill Gates talking about the next one's going to get a lot of attention, talking about some potentially even a future pandemic that's supposed to happen. And most people stick their head in the sand or they go with the flow because they're lacking in time, they're lacking in mental space, they're busy, whatever. I get it. It's hard. It's a lot to take in. But if you look at the first principles, there are viruses every single year. Lots of them. You and I get them every single year without fail. Those times where you don't feel good, maybe that was a coronavirus. Those times where you just need a few extra days of rest, probably coronavirus. The common cold, they say, is virus. If you live the rest of your life in fear, what kind of life is that? Furthermore, if you don't understand nature and then use your understanding of nature to work on your health and do things like sleeping and eating and spending time with friends and family, going outside, vitamin D, etc. If you don't do those things and you don't understand nature, you're just going to live in a perpetual state of fear. It's going to actually make you weaker, more fragile. But when you understand and then you focus on your health and you do the things you need to do, prepared, you've done everything you can. At that point, no virus can affect you because you have an immune system. That's what it's for. If humans were so susceptible to bacteria and viruses, our species wouldn't be here. We're talking hundreds of thousands of years being the top of the food chain, and then millions of years of hominid evolution, and millions upon millions of years of primate evolution. We're still here. We're still kicking. This idea that some boogie virus is going to come around and we're going to vaccine it to death and we're going to cover our mouths and it's going to go away and we're going to stay inside. Like, it's such a preposterous idea. It really is. Like, if you literally lock people inside for a month, then yes, you could probably kill off some of these viruses. I suspect there'd still be ways it could get out. Like it is what it is. It's nature. It's like something as preposterous as saying is like, let's build a huge wall so that the wind stops or something. I don't know. Like maybe it's a bad analogy, but it's like when we try to intervene in nature, there's always disastrous side effects. There always is. We're egotistical. We don't like to change our mind. We think we can control things. That's why we repeat the same mistakes. I don't want you to be afraid. Fear is not a way to live life. Fear is not living. Living in fear is not living. And the more you raise understanding, the more fear comes down. Think of it as a scale. The more fear is up, it's because you have less understanding. Raise understanding, lower fear, to the point where fear is just poof, and all you have is understanding. It's attainable when you actually look into these things and you stop buying into the dogma and the propaganda and the scaremongering, the fear-mongering. It's election year. If you think that the elite and those that are literally trying to get the current president out of office, it's like their entire objective. They don't care about human life. They don't care about right or wrong. They don't care about skin color. They just have an agenda. And if you think that these people can't sway public opinion and aren't doing things in a way because you might think it's a conspiracy, look at the food and pharmaceutical industry. Those are big conspiracies. They weren't planned out. There wasn't some evil genius saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to make fake food and then people are going to get fat and then I'm going to make pharmaceuticals and make billions of dollars. No, they're what I call accidental conspiracies. Because one thing happens, maybe improvements in food processing, right? And then we get cheap fast food. A lot of this happened after World War II. Corporations pile in because, wow, you can make money and let's feed the masses and this and that. And so Americans eat it up. They want these new, cheap, convenient foods and then they want convenience and then it just scales and scales and scales. And then guess what? The unintended consequence of that is people get fat, sick, get heart disease, cancer, which are now the number 1 and 2 killers in the United States, heart disease and cancer, things that are completely preventable based on lifestyle. And then so what do? Pharmaceuticals come up and they say, wow, there's this problem in this marketplace where people are fat and sick and they need drugs. Let's give them those drugs and then we'll make billions. And then food companies are making billions, pharmaceutical companies are making billions. And then what do? They lobby government to subsidize corn, wheat, soy, and other things like that, and to keep the broken system moving forward, maintaining the status quo. Is that a conspiracy? I think it's an accidental conspiracy. And I think at this point, they're definitely conspiracies that work together to keep things the way they are. This should not be surprising. These are just complex systems and circumstances that come together, and then there's a profit motive, and people come in and swoop in to take advantage of that profit motive. And then as profit increases, so does power and lobbying increase. And then you get to a point where this becomes the norm because this is how everybody does it. And then you can use media manipulation to control the narrative. For years, Coca-Cola spent money trying to prevent research that said that sugar was bad for you. They still do to this day. They try to suppress things. They try to put out puff pieces where they hire researchers to show that there's no correlation or this or that. Are those conspiracies? Or is that just one company using its marketing dollars in a way to reduce the damage of the truth? It's like this stuff, I've gotten to a point where the deeper I go into all these rabbit holes, the more painful it is because I'm falling into that trap where it's a negativity bias where I feel like it's so hopeless. And so maybe I shouldn't even try. Of course, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep doing, what I'm doing. And hopefully I can reach more people and help more people. Everything in our modern world is mismatched. And there are corporations profiting on this mismatch every step of the way. We're talking billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. Big tech, they make money when you stay addicted to your phone. And then that causes a bunch of psychological problems. That keeps you sitting on a couch all day or in bed or whatever. Very few businesses make a profit by you being healthy. It is what it is. Like gyms, great. Supplements, health food, etc., great. Things like cryotherapy and things like that. Like there's a lot of ways that you can make money and help people, right? But I don't know. It's not really the rule. They're kind of the exception at this point. I would love it if we could make them the rule and we could make things like processed food and cigarette companies and pharmaceuticals. If those could be the exception, the small minority, and then a healthy economy with healthy humans built on healthy habits for the modern human, if that could become the rule, that's the world I want to live in. So I got to try to, fight to change that. So the call to action though is just understand human nature. Understand the fact that you don't want to change your mind. You will resist changing your mind. If you're afraid of the virus right now and someone presents data that would maybe make it so that maybe you shouldn't be that afraid of it. Or if you're wearing a mask every day and somebody shows you some evidence about why maybe a mask doesn't really do anything, and maybe it's a false sense of security, maybe it has even a negative effect, you're going to resist that with every ounce of your being because you don't want your ego to admit that it was wrong. That is a blow to the ego. The ego does not like doing that. This is human nature. This is biology. There's evolutionary reasons for this that I won't get into. But you should recognize that too. When you get angry at somebody because they offer something that's not PC or that might challenge the idea that you've been following or whatever, you should take that as an opportunity to stress test your ideas. You should not engage in name calling and labeling and attacking that person because that's only going to solidify your dogma. And it's actually usually a sign that you're not being open-minded and thus you're missing something. Almost without fail, when you respond to information or a conflicting idea in a negative way, you are no longer thinking objectively. And then by merit of that closed myopic worldview, you are not thinking as well as you could be. You are not increasing your knowledge and opening your mind and taking in more information to form better ideas. You're actually doing the opposite. You're becoming more rigid and small in your ideas. And that is how we are going to crumble from the inside. America, the world, human species. We need to resist polarization. We need to be open-minded. We need to challenge bad ideas. We need to continue to level up our ideas. If all science was like, don't challenge the papers I've written or my ideas because this is the work I've done. So nothing new. I don't want to hear any of it. I don't want to hear any of it from you. Don't tell me anything. This is the way it is. If that was the case, we'd still believe that the universe was built around Earth and that the sun revolved around Earth and the stars and everything. We'd probably still think whatever we thought before Einstein's E equals MC squared. We would still, I don't know, a lot of things, right? You can see kind of the preposterousness of this, right? It's absurd. Yet this is how a lot of people go through life. Rigid in their ideas. They don't want to change their mind. They fall victim to the massive amounts of confirmation bias on devices where it just serves you up things you want to hear and just reinforces your ideas. They literally cannot even be asked questions about their ideas because just questioning somebody is somehow offensive. That's the world we live in. Just questioning about the data about something related to race, people will try to call you a racist. It's like, I'm asking a question here. Don't you want to be able to vet what you're saying and think objectively? Answer my question. If this is valid, then why can't you answer my question? Like, it's so insane. It's so insane. So just don't be afraid. Wake up. Work on your health. Don't buy into the dogma. Don't watch the news, etc. I know a lot of the same things, but I gotta harp on them over and over and over again because it should not be rare and the exception to be healthy. And it is. Even the ideas around nutrition and being like optimally healthy and fit is so controversial and so divisive. It's insane. Like, subscribe if you want more, but more importantly, do something with your health. Do something. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. Get outside, take a walk, fast, get sunlight, exercise, spend time with friends and family, go outside, breathe fresh oxygen and get sunlight. Live free or die hard. I actually like that. The Die Hard. That was a good movie. Live free or die hard. Live free or die hard. I don't know. I don't know if that really applies here, but it's a good movie. So, hey, Colin here. Got a freebie for you. Click on the button below to go to the ancestralmind.com and download the 7 Principles of Living Wild. This is a short PDF that's got some of the main principles such as real food, sleep, movement, and a couple more that are going to help you live more ancestrally in accordance with your genes.